remember me coming to Ice House?
Pasadena?
No, it wasn't Ice House. It was in Orange County. I came to see you perform. I offered you the role in Blood and Bone. You remember that at all?
I do. Yeah, I do now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because Blood and Bone, which is like actually Sony's most successful non-theatrical, that was basically kind of a reimagining of Hard Times with Charles Bronson and James Coburn. And yes, well, that role was basically that I was offering you was the James Coburn role, right? But you was dead set. I don't want to do this acting stuff. I want to focus on what your interest, which was the stand up and you getting together. You and Eddie were doing like kind of the early podcast type stuff and whatever. And I'm like, man, you really kind of knew what you wanted to do.
Well, the thing about acting is, I admire it, especially good acting, but it takes a long time. It's a 16-hour day. It's a long day. It will take away from other things you do. And I saw that with a lot of comics, that they started doing acting and it would take away from their act because they really couldn't go and do sets every night. They couldn't really polish the material. You can see the stuff getting a little clunkier. It's just you gotta focus. You gotta find the things you enjoy and focus on them.
Yeah, that's why I say I'm so proud of just being there and seeing what you did. You being a part of the UFC when it's nothing promising. You know what I mean? And
now there's enough promising. People looked at you like you were doing like snuff or something.
Exactly.
They looked at you like, I remember in the early days, man. Dana White says this, people talk to you like you're doing porn or something.
Right.
Like I was on news radio, a sitcom on NBC, and I was doing commentary where I was doing post-fight interviews for the UFC. And they were like, why are you doing this? Why are you flying to Alabama and doing cage fights?
See, that's what good movies are made of shit like that. You know, somebody just I'm their spirit, doing what they want to do, with no promise of anything, and then accomplish themselves. So, kudos, man. Seriously.
Well, for me, and I'm sure for you as well, when we were young, there was always a question, what is the best style? Is it Kyokushin? Is it Judo? Is it Kung Fu? What is it? What's the best style? And no one really knew. I mean, Eddie the Jet fought in a bunch of those no rules fights early on, but they never really took off. There wasn't a lot of those. Eddie was obviously a very special fighter.
Oh, yeah. He was one of my teachers too.
Oh yeah. I trained his judo. He was on the podcast. Recently, and I told him, I said, when I came to LA, there's two places I had to go. I had to go to the Store, and I had to go to the Jet Center. And I was there in '94, right before because the earthquake damaged the roof. And so when the rainy season came, right now. And that was on, and we were training at gym. That was incredible. It was incredible.
Oh yeah, I used to be there. Those were great times. But I mean, I connect with when I was in Bridgeport. My instructor, Manny Malusi, went to California and started training with Benny. Early on, so he put that on the map about coming to the middle and training with Benny.
That was the map. Yeah, for kickboxing, especially in the '90s, that was the map. You had to go to the Jet Center.
Yeah, man.
So we were always wondering, like, what is the style? What's the best style? And then the UFC came along. Oh my God, they did it. They did it. They figured it out. They put it all together. And for a while, it was jiu-jitsu because nobody understood jiu-jitsu. Royce Gracie was just running shit.
Well, you know how that was kind of set up.
It was a little set up, but I mean, look, he had some challenges. Like Ken Shamrock was a beast.
Oh yeah,
he had some really good fighters. He was against Kimo Slice. Excuse me, not Kimo Slice. Kimo. Sorry, Kimo was fucking huge.
He was a big dude, but he didn't really.
Well, it was a 100-pound advantage. He had 100 pounds over Royce.
The Gracies were smart. They were very smart at that time. And knowing, the right people to kind of pick at that time. Because there was some killers out there.
There were some killers out there. Yeah, they definitely set it up, especially the early ones. But it's like. It was good for us to see a guy like Royce, who wasn't jacked. He was a slender guy who weighed 175 pounds and he was strangling everybody, armbarring everybody. It was wild to see. When he beat Dan Severn, was 260 pounds, Royce tapped him off his back with a triangle.
Oh, yeah, man, what a story here. That put jiu-jitsu
on the map.
On the map big time. But one thing I always broke my heart is people never know about Hickson. Oh my God. That dude. That cat was like, I always consider him like pound for pound the best because he had this, not only jiu-jitsu skills, but just his concentration. And he was almost like, hypnotic. You know what I mean? And just no waste of energy. None. Just unbelievable. What an amazing person to watch. I encourage anybody to pull up his fights.
Well, another great example. Another great example of cross-training too, because Hickson got really into yoga. And everybody's like, yoga's for girls. Hickson got really into yoga and got super flexible and really good at controlling his breathing. And never got tired.
Yeah, you saw him in the Hulk.
Oh yeah.
It's not, man. That's talk about a legend.
Oh, real legend.
Yeah, man.
Hickson, there's a video of him, and he did this multiple times, where he would go to these gyms and he would teach a seminar, like a long seminar, and then roll with all the black belts and just tap them one after the other. We're all champions. Guys that just didn't understand what was going on. Like, how is this happening? Like Paulo Filho, when he was a WEC world champion, and he had won the Mundials, I believe. He won multiple jiu-jitsu championships, and he trained with Hickson. He's like, man, it's true. He goes, I can't believe it. He goes, that guy treated me like I didn't even belong there. It was crazy. And Hickson, by that time, was probably like 40. And still just dominated guys on that, and effortless. It wasn't strength. It was just pure technique and
basics. Just mastering the basics.
Basics. It was like there's none of the barambolos, no X guard, nothing crazy. It's like everything he did is like jiu-jitsu 101, but to a masterful degree.
And incredible. And telling people that everybody knows Royce, and I'm like, you guys don't know who his big brother is.
He would openly say that my brother's 10 times better than me.
Right. So that really put. And I love jiu-jitsu because it's held up the tradition that martial arts, so much karate lost because it became a business, and people just put their time in and pay for their black belts,
right?
And it just watered it down. Right. All these people running around saying that they're master this and grand whatever, and all these made up things. It's like, oh yeah, the guy's a master in an Asian martial art. That's an English word, right? You know what I mean? How did master sneak its way into it? Right. But male ego.
Well, the thing about martial arts, other than jiu-jitsu, is when you're sparring, it's very controlled. A lot of karate sparring is very controlled. A lot of taekwondo sparring is very controlled. But in jiu-jitsu, the beautiful thing about grappling is you know how good everybody is because they all spar. They're all rolling with each other, and they're essentially going full blast until they tap.
Yeah.
And so there's no hiding. There's no hiding your skill.
Yeah, I love what Eddie Bravo used to say. Basically, one, I killed you.
Yeah.
I just killed you.
Yeah.
So that's like, wow, that's a trip because it's like it actually works out that way.
Oh yeah. If he gets you a triangle and you tap, it's because you were about to go to sleep.
Yes.
And once you're sleeping, you just stomp your head into a pancake.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, just hold on to that triangle and then you never wake up.
Yeah, what a humbling thing.
Yeah. Very humbling.
Yeah.
What's really humbling is how quickly someone can do it to you when you don't know what you're doing. Like that was shocking to me because I had all this martial arts experience. When I first started training, I was like, this is gonna do to me. I wrestled in high school. I'm strong. I'm fast. I know how to fight. I just got manhandled over and over and over again.
Oh yeah,
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, see that, but kudos because a lot of people, because if you got an egotistical thing going, and you get that your little your comfort because you got your black belt and all that kind of stuff, it means jack nothing. Everybody I know who continues and really to learn real fighting knows when you had a boxer beat the hell out of you and you go, oh wait, there's a lot of this stuff I gotta toss out the window. And because I never forget like times where a wrestler gets to me or a boxer like pieces me up like early on. I'm like, no, I got to learn this.
Oh yeah. I went through several of those. I went through one of them in high school because I had a friend in high school that was a wrestler, and I didn't think anything of wrestling. I'm like, that's not even martial art. And then we wrestled on the grass one day. He just took me down at will. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like he pinned me down. I couldn't move. I couldn't get up. I'm like, this is stunning. I thought I'm strong. I thought I could move. I thought I'll be able to get out of the way. No, I had no chance. He wasn't even a great wrestler. He was just a decent wrestler. He just humbled me over and over and over again. So then I started wrestling. And then when I got into Taekwondo, I thought, I'm really good at Taekwondo. I was competing on a national level. I won the state championships 4 years in a row. I was fucking people up. And then I remember the first time I boxed with a really good amateur boxer. I was like, oh, Lord. And this kid was like 18 years old. And, I was at the gym. He went on, his name's Dana Rosenblatt. He went on to become New England middleweight champion. He beat Vinny Pazienza. He beat Howard Davis Jr. as a professional. He was a really good boxer.
He had to be.
But he was kickboxing at the time. And I was going to get into kickboxing. And so I was sparring with him. But when I was boxing with him, I was just getting lit up. I was like, oh, and then also when we were kickboxing, the moment he got close to me, I was in trouble. I was like, oh, no. Like, Taekwondo had too many flaws. The hand techniques. So I had gone through that. So then I thought, okay, well now I understand kickboxing. Then I met a dude who went to Thailand a bunch of times. I was training Muay Thai and fighting over there. And then I started learning leg kicks. I'm like, well, oh, good Lord. Now all they have to do is kick my legs? I didn't even think of that. And then I started really paying attention to WKA fights, like the old Dennis Alexio days, with Dragon Wilson. I was like, leg kicks and everything. Oh my goodness. And then I'm like, okay, well now I got a solid foundation. I understand how to fight. And then I started getting jiu-jitsu. I'm like, oh no, back to square one. I'm getting raped. I'm just getting mauled over mats. But I'd been through that so many times and restarted so many times. I was like, well, it's time to learn this now.
That's what I'm saying is everything has something to teach you. And even though there's a martial art, there's a fantasy world, which is I look at it as hilarious. There's this I don't know. There's sometimes I would say it like this, like with martial arts, it's the Dunning-Kruger effect in the largest way possible because everybody out there has an opinion of martial arts, though very few people really know what it is. They want to look at the movies and everything, and they really want to believe that. They want to believe that this guy who kicks in the air and all that kind of stuff will be able to beat a champion. And in a way, hey, I benefit from that to some degree because they think that about me. But I'm comfortable fighting, and I just love fighting against anybody. But
you've had actual competition experience, like a lot of competition.
Yeah, but my best experiences is with like I got a chance to train against champions at their place. When they're at their best, and it's not an ego thing. It's just like I love to be able to test myself, and because I'm my biggest competition, and so that whole thing about just what the bow means to me is like thank you for making me better by providing me an obstacle, and the higher the better the person, the better I can become. 100%. And so I loved it. So for years I'm in there with Gokhan Saki and Maurice Smiths and you name it. I consider myself one of the luckiest martial artists on the planet because I get to train with so many people. Sometimes at my house and I've got all these former champions training and Rampage when he was champion. I go to his place and and honestly, like the things I brag about is when I get humbled, because that's when I learn something. For sure. My philosophy is I love to be wrong because every time I'm wrong I learn something. Absolutely. And so like some of the best times for me is like I know when I was Michael Bisping was getting ready for to fight George St. Pierre, and we were in Thailand. I was like, yeah, let's mix it up. What
were you doing in Thailand?
Oh, we were doing a movie out there.
Oh, wow.
But he had to train. He was getting ready for the George St. Pierre fight, and so I was like, yeah, let's do some rounds or whatever. And I got so winded the second round. I'm like, dude, just whoop my ass. I feel so like I'm embarrassed.
This man was a cardio machine.
Yes, he was.
He was a cardio machine.
I didn't expect that because we spent all day on a yacht the day before, and he was drinking nonstop. I'm a non-drinker, right? I'm like, this guy's gonna, yeah, I'm gonna probably take it easy on him today.
He is one of the toughest motherfuckers that ever fought in the sport.
I swear.
And this is what I say about him. No matter what you think about watching his fights, you have to understand. Not only did he accomplish so much, he accomplished a lot of it with one eye. One fucking eye. He had 11 fights in the UFC with a winning record with one eye.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes. Yeah. That's man.
He would memorize the eye chart so that when they covered his eye, he could sag it out like he could read it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How fucking crazy is that?
He's got a hell of a personal story too. I was trying to encourage him to get that made. You know, like honestly, man, I really look at these UFC fighters and the MMA guys as our modern day heroes. They're our gladiators, and so whenever I have a chance, man, I always like to put them in movies and try to expose them to another kind of way of getting paid. Yeah. Especially afterwards, because it breaks my heart that they're heroes and then they get discarded sometimes. But not by the union that they're with, but just by the fans. They're just so fickle sometimes.
Yes. Well, the casuals, the people that aren't really martial artists.
Right. Yeah. So
I dismiss a guy when they lose a few.
Yeah. I just did my third movie with Cowboy Cerrone. You know, we just finished a little over a week ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's doing really good, man.
I love that. Yeah, that's a guy that could really legitimately transition to become a movie star.
Yes, and he's got a lot more confidence. This is, like I said, the third movie. He did a Western with me. Outlaw Johnny Black. I wrote and directed it. But I had Cowboy. I had Randy Couture in it.
Oh wow.
And then Josh Barnett.
Randy's done an amazing job of transitioning.
Oh, absolutely.
The Expendables, and he's great at it. He has a great personality.
Absolutely.
Very calm. I remember one time he was fighting Tim Sylvia for the heavyweight title, and he came out there and he had a smile on his face. He looked over at me and he winked. I'm like, how is this motherfucker so relaxed before his fight? But he had an amazing perspective. He's like, he said to me, the people who love you will love you whether you win or lose. And he said, what's the worst thing that can happen? You lose? He goes, you've lost before. Yeah. It's no big deal.
You remember him spanking Tito?
Yeah, he got on top of his man.
Randy
was an animal.
Yeah, well, he had that heart attack while he was shooting my movie.
That's crazy.
And this came back to set like nothing.
How did he have a fucking heart attack?
I don't remember how exactly. It was, and I think he drove himself to the hospital. Yeah, man. Talk about an American hero, man. I mean,
I was there for his first fight.
Really?
Yeah, 1997. Yeah, I was there for his very first fight.
Oh, shoot.
He fought this huge jack dude. Took him down, mounted him, beat the shit out of him. It was wild. It was like, that was the time where wrestlers had first started cracking this code, right? There was this code of, there was a lot of people that thought like jiu-jitsu was the only way, and then the elite wrestlers got in there. Okay. The Mark Kerrs, the Mark Colemans, and then Randy, a bunch of these guys got in there, and then they realized like, if a guy can just take you down and beat the fuck out of you from the top, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Right. And then we realized like, boy, that's the true cornerstone of martial arts. The ability to take a guy down.
My goodness, I mean, what's harder than wrestling? I don't think there's
the hardest sport in the world. Yeah. The hardest sport in the world, and the best sport in the world to get your kids into at a young age, because the discipline and the mental toughness that they get will carry them through for the rest of their life.
Yep, tenacity, just the stick-to-itiveness, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's just like...
Even high school wrestling. I remember wrestling in high school, and I'd already done martial arts, but I was like, I'd never trained that hard. I was like, I can't believe... And then it carried me over into my Taekwondo career, because I realized like, oh, I'm leaving a lot on the table. Like, I'm not training like these guys are. Right, so I started running, I started adding all these things to my training that I wasn't doing before. I started doing a lot more calisthenics, a lot more different things. I was like, I'm leaving something on the table, because we were not training in the gym, and we were sparring hard, we were doing hard rounds, and you get tired, but it was not the same as what we were doing in wrestling. No one trains hard
that anaerobic stuff, man. That's man. I got the wrestling bug when I was a senior in high school, and the football coach was a wrestler in college, and he challenged me. I think we did this 2 years in a row, my junior year and my senior year. At the end of the year, we wrestled. We just go like, he and I. Like I said, I was big for my age.
Were you playing football?
I was for a very short time, but I ended up I wasn't designed for team sports. I ended up beating up the football coach.
Oh no.
Yeah, I had worse temper than anybody I'd ever seen. I mean, I used to go into fits of rage. I was so angry early on, man. It's like the Hulk is like, Mike, you should chill out a little bit, man. It's like I was just...
It's probably from being on your own at 14.
Yeah, what it is like I was growing up in a very harsh environment, and I didn't know I was an artist. I didn't know I was a writer, director, whatever. You didn't see those growing up where I am. Right. And so when you're a sensitive kid, man, what you do is you build armor. Like I was to play Mike Tyson later on, and I understood him quite well. And if you're sensitive, you anything that's precious, you lock it in a safe, and you become the safe. And it's like, I grew up, my brothers were completely different. They're engineers, so things roll off their back. But like for me, I was just volatile. And luckily I had martial arts to kind of put my focus into. But like I said, like I was to play Mike Tyson, I understood him a great deal. And even though you take the moniker of this monster, it's only to hide what's really deep inside. And that's why you would see, if anybody's going to go into tears in front of a million people, it's people like Mike Tyson. And you go, how does that fit in the same person? Right. And so that's what I was growing up. And I don't know if you know this, but I was a school teacher before I was an actor. Oh, really? Yeah, I taught E&A as a special ed teacher. So I focused on a lot of kids who were very much I still do that. And the way I consider that my real job, whenever I'm off from work on a movie or whatever, I go into the inner cities, I go into community centers, I devote my time, because there's nothing I could do. There's no better spending of time than something like that. because I was luckily saved. I had just at the right times in my life, just different seeds planted. And so I'm confident that if those seeds weren't planted, I would not be here. Because like I say, I was been through some crazy stuff.
Classic story.
Yeah, bro, man. Like I'll tell you, like just a little under 2 years ago, a buddy of mine, who's a close friend of mine, he got out of prison. He was in prison for almost like 30 years, and he found me on Facebook. And so when I went back east, we linked up, and you know, I know a lot of people who have businesses and everything. I hooked him up, you know, got him a job, and we're sitting over lunch, and in the middle of him telling me like third or fourth story, like back in the glory days of us or whatever. While he was in the middle of this story, I was, you know, kind of getting myself set to kind of set him straight, because I don't know if you want to call it superstitious, but I won't lie. I refuse to lie to my friends. I won't lie by omission. So I was getting set to tell him, dude, man, you gotta stop embellishing all these stories. Just because you were locked up and you made these stories sound bigger than life. Right. I get it, but that's not real. You gotta really, you know, kind of not do that. And in the middle of me thinking that, and I'm listening to him, I go, holy shit, he's telling the truth. I started remembering what he's telling me, and I'm like, now I'm finishing his sentences. Not only was that story true, but the other ones were true too. And dude, like I swear, every time I think about this, I got these goosebumps, and I realized, oh my god, how close I was to being where he was, or just not being on this planet. Right. Like, I better devote my time into helping kids the way I was helped.
Yeah, don't pull that ladder out.
No, hell no, hell no. Even if I'm taken out, I accept that. Even if I'm in some projects where I'm not supposed to be and I shouldn't have been, I accept that. Because, dude, I am abundantly lucky. It doesn't even fit on the radar how lucky I am. And I can remember a lot of these crazy stories, you know, aside from the ones that he made me conjure back up. But man, I'm like, wow.
Well, that speaks to your character, that you had downplayed it all in your mind so much that you thought he was exaggerating.
I swept it under the rug.
Yeah. Because you're not that person
anymore. No, but I mean, like, there was so many events, things that I just call it on a Wednesday that I went through, that it's like, I don't know, like, I think I wouldn't trade it, because I continue to be the happiest guy I know because of, I think, some of that.
Because you can appreciate the good times.
Oh my God, yeah. And I should be slapped if I complain about anything. Right. You know what I mean? Like, what? And so, you know, so I just, boy, I just know I'm so blessed. And you know what we're doing even right now, man, we're in the service industry, man. You know, you're here to serve. In my opinion, that's what we're all here for. And you know, it's great that we get to serve and doing the things that we would like to do.
That's definitely a lot of what we do. I mean, that's definitely a lot of it, right? You entertain, but I feel very blessed that I've been able to expose people to so many different ways of thinking, so much information, so many different human beings that have led completely different paths, that can tell you about whatever discipline they're involved in, what they've learned, and what we're working on right now, and what you can learn about the human mind, the body, ancient history, fill in blank, like whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I see you do that over and over, and you, in utmost honesty, I remember like when you had to kind of pull Shab aside and tell, as a friend, some things that are hard for people that, you know, other friends to tell him, you know, and like
that was real hard.
Yeah,
that was real hard because I love that guy. He's a great person. He's a great human being, and I knew the path. I'd seen it too many times, but I hadn't seen it with someone I was that close with. I was like, you have to stop, because not only you're in the heavyweight division, so the knockouts are brutal, and you're going to get 3 or 4 more in the next couple of years, and then you're not going to recover from those.
I mean, so many people. I hope they take a page out of that, because it's so non-manly. I feel to just not say anything, and allow somebody you love to go down the road. I mean, that might be detrimental for them.
Well, it was also, Shab had another path. He was really good at podcasting. He's fun. He's a funny dude.
Right, yeah.
He's like, as a podcast, he's like got a great personality. He's hilarious. He's silly. You know, he's a big, giant, silly dude. And like, we would have so much fun, and he was doing really well. He was making more money doing that than he was fighting. But his identity was so wrapped up in him being a top 10 UFC heavyweight. You know, he'd beat world-class guys like Mirko Krokop, you know, and he was legit, man. But that time had passed. And I saw that he was 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And as soon as the guy's 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're going to run into some guy who has both feet in and is a fucking samurai. And you're going to wake up on a stretcher. And you're on the way to the hospital going, what happened? And you don't remember the fight, you don't remember nothing. And then you don't know where your keys are, you forget people's names, you tell the same story over and over again, and then you struggle to put sentences together. When you start seeing dudes with a slur,
worth that, man.
Nothing's worth that. Because I mean, at the time he was only 35 years old or whatever he was. I'm like, man, you got another 45, 55 years of life. You can't do this. You can't sacrifice all these years for glory that will never be achieved anyway, because you're not on that path anymore.
And it's not about what strangers say about you.
No.
It's about your friends, your family, people who really love you.
It's just so hard for people to abandon that identity. That's the hardest thing for fighters, is to abandon that identity. We've seen so many guys, even the greats, they come back and they shouldn't, and you see it, and you see them get humiliated, and you're like, oh.
And when it comes down to it, these people, they don't love you, man. Like,
they love you as the image.
Yeah, they live vicariously through you. I remember one time I was in a fight in Boston, and I remember when something completely changed. Usually, if anybody, because I did any kind of thing, I would do kickboxing, this tournament. I just loved my best I think the thing I did best in the world was fighting. I always had these cheat codes in a way, and I enjoyed